Okay, good morning. And yeah, I think also in Italy it's morning. As the program director has already indicated, my name is Happy Sithole. I am the manager of the National Integrated Cyber Infrastructure here in South Africa. And I can say that since 2 years ago, I think this is the first on-site event we are having. So I'm quite delighted to have this event today, and with the subject that we're looking at, the collaboration with IFAP, and we'd like to thank the South African government, especially the Department of Science and Innovation, DDD Ditoy, for supporting this event, and the ambassador for making this possible. And Professor Bassini also with the opening remarks also. I would like to indicate that from what we talked about, there's quite a lot common that IFAP and the National Integrated Cyber Infrastructure is doing. So I will like to take you a little bit on the cyber infrastructure and high performance computing in particular in South Africa, and also highlight some of the areas that might be of interest between South Africa and Italy. The first slide here, you will see that we are a facility that is under the Department of Science and Innovation, and hence you see the presence of the Department of Science and Innovation here. And you are hosted at the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, the CSIR. It is our host institution. So we are governed by the CSIR, but we are a national facility. So it's important that all our governance is under the CSIR. Let me see the slide moving.
Just a keyboard.
Keyboard. No, it's okay, maybe. Okay. Yeah, so it's better.
Yeah, with the
Okay.
keys.
Okay. Thank you. So first, maybe the National Integrated Cyber Infrastructure. In South Africa, initially we started off with entities that is looking at high performance computing, and also we had the network, which is connecting South African researchers. We call it the South African Research Network, and we have got the Data Intensive Research Initiative. I think the concept that also IFAP comes with is how do you bring all these entities so that you can be able to provide a service to the research community. And this is what motivated us to bring these entities together and form what we call the National Integrated Cyber Infrastructure. So this was done in 2014, but the existence of this institution, CHPC, started off 2006, when we started just talking to the researchers on how do we develop high performance computing activities, and operationally we started in 2007. And the major drivers to this is that there are some common areas in which, for an example, if we've got lots of data, you want to transport it. So the network and the data needs to talk together so that you can be able to transfer the data. Similarly, if we've got a lot of data, you want to explore that data. High performance data analytics is very important. And when you have got HPC systems, you want them secured, you also need that network connectivity. But also we are driven by the science, and the science, in this case, life science projects like your square kilometer array. We also have got high energy physics. We participate in the CERN experiment, the Large Hadron Collider. We've got some big experiments also like bioinformatics, and South Africa also. We're looking at the fourth industrial revolution that will require all these three entities. And we have got regional corporations like the SADC cyber infrastructure and areas of climate change. So these are some of the things that motivate us to have these investments in cyber infrastructure, high performance computing, and the networking. Our strategic objectives, first of all, is to make sure that South Africa and their scientists have got world-class facilities for science, technology, and innovation. But the other thing that we also focus on is that we want to enable science. So this infrastructure has to do some science. And similarly, Professor Bassini, in the presentations in this in the 2 days, you will see some of the applications of the science on cyber infrastructure. I will touch on some of them, but the colleagues who are on the program will be dwelling deeper into that. I've already talked about our positioning of South Africa in collaboration on international projects. And the other thing that we're also looking at is to provide thought leadership to ensure that there is guidance on how cyber infrastructure it is rolled out. But one of the key things that we also look at is to develop human capacity in cyber infrastructure and its applications. And also for South Africa, because of our past, we're also looking at contributing to transformation of this sector. There are some areas which were not really covered, so these are some of the things that we are also interested in making sure that we can be able to cover that. Just on the philosophy, like the data intensive research initiative, we're looking here in areas where people have got data, they do exploration of the data, but they are not in high performance computing. So we're building some portals for the researchers to be able to have access to the data. So we will get deeper into the infrastructure in one of the sessions. But these are also interlinked with high performance computing activities. And we're also looking at long-term data preservation. So South Africa also, it also has got the ambitions to make sure that we have got open data for research and we can be able to apply fair principles in provisioning the data. So this is under our area, which is the Data Intensive Research Initiative, and one of my colleagues will be talking more about this, Dr. Anwar Verhaat, later on. In terms of the infrastructure, making sure that we connect all the institutions in the country, and today we have got the network rollout that connects all research institutions, universities, science councils, and today in the country, this network is 100 gigs that connects all the institutions, and you will see that mostly this network is completed. There are some areas, for an example, connecting the square kilometer array, because we are looking at the SKA1 at around 2025, and in this time, we will be having a direct connectivity in there. We also invest in the network infrastructure to connect to international community. And in this case, we have got the capacity on the works to make sure that we can be able to facilitate international connectivity. We have got the spare capacity also on the CCOM to provide the redundancy. So for collaboration, I would say that we are ready to be able to collaborate with Italy, because we have got an excellent network that connects us internationally. The infrastructure, we are investing heavily on high performance computing, and today we have got our system, which 5 years ago was one of the systems on the top 500 until June 2019. And we are obviously working very hard to make sure that we provide South Africans with world-class facilities, and I will talk more about our plans in that. And this system has been awarded the fastest supercomputer in the continent until now, recently, November, where we have got some investment in Morocco. But we have got some plans in ensuring that we have got infrastructure available. Our infrastructure also, especially for today, that we are looking at ensuring that we enable artificial intelligence, machine learning. So we also have got the infrastructure that is specifically tuned for this type of applications. And you will see here investment in architectures like GPU, some of the investments in the country to make sure that we provide sufficient infrastructure for big data analytics. And our roadmap, as I have already indicated, that we started investment in HPC in 2007. Modest facility, 2.5 teraflops at that time. And this was a big machine for Africa and for South Africa. That did a lot of science, but what we started off with was to make sure that we can look at the science cases that support the strategic intent of the country. And this, from 2007, with what we call the flagships, managed to motivate the government to keep on the investment in HPC. You could see that from 2007, 2008, because we were in a build-up stage, we were investing almost every year. But now you can see that now we are on like a 6-year rollout of the infrastructure. Hence, I was saying our current machine that we call Lengao. Lengao is one of the fastest animals, cheetah in English. And that's the machine. It's been called 2015. In 2021, now it's 6 years. So we will be replacing this machine now in 2021. The current machine is about 1.6 petaflops, and we're looking at getting 4 times that capacity. And in the next 5 years to be able to get to 10 petaflop. The capacity obviously is dictated by the use, and these numbers might even increase more, but these are the minimum that we think that we should be able to reach. There is a lot of use for these systems. As we can see, the growth in terms of the research programs that are using this system from 2016 on Lengao, we had around 150 research groups, and these research groups now we have got all in all about 300 research groups. So there is a sustained increase in the use of high performance computing, and the users obviously from these various research groups, almost 900 users from the various groups. You can see from this that our HPC systems are heavily utilized. And this, I can just show you, this is the period during when the national lockdown started, around May 2020. And you can see that even during this time, there was heavy utilization of HPC systems. The science and engineering research continued. You can see here almost 100%. Where you see the dip here, don't think that the scientists have gone sleeping. It's only when we have got the load shedding, because we only have got half the capacity connected directly to the diesel generator. But we are in a process of upgrading our power so that we can have all the HPC systems linked on the diesel generator. So the dip only happens there. Who uses the HPC systems? South African academics mainly. You'll see that's a big users on this part. And then we have got the South African public institutions. These are the research councils like your CSIR, Mintech, and the like. And we also have got our participation with the SKA partner countries, which these are the other 8 partner countries on the SKA, like your Ghana, Kenya, and some of the Southern African countries. They also get capacity on our HPC systems through this collaboration. But the other part, which is also important, is our industry. We have got 1% of South African industries. So these industries, they use the systems because we want to promote South African industries to take up high performance computing. And various domains of high performance computing, and Professor Bassini in this case, all the areas you see, earth sciences, bioinformatics, chemistry, and material science, and those are the percentages also that cover this area. And when I looked at what Chineka is doing, almost we have got similar workloads. So sharing of utilization of HPC systems to make sure that we provide better support will be one of our interests, and developing tools to enable the scientists in this case. This is just the distribution, as I have already indicated. This is now for 2020, 2021. You can still see South African academia still high, but there is an increase on private sector. Initially, it was 1%. This is increasing to 2%, which means that more and more industries taking up high performance computing. These are just some of the examples and research that is being done. We work with all the universities in the country and the research councils. You'll see a lot of work that is being done on energy storage systems, and these are some of the researchers and publications in that area. Drug discovery, quite a lot that is happening, and we have got, for an example, the colleagues at the University of KwaZulu-Natal, Professor Suleiman, who have been working on the COVID-19, and they have done quite a lot of work in identifying some of the variants that were detected here in South Africa. A lot of publications also in this area. So this is an area that we will be interested in talking about. And I guess colleagues will be here to talk more about that. The other areas of interest, for an example, on mineral processing. For the mineral processing here, one of our science councils, which is MinTech, using the systems here in redefining the DC arc furnace, a lot of work on computational fluid dynamics. So these are the areas on pyrometallurgy. And bioinformatics, quite a lot on genomic sequencing. So these are the areas that we'll also be interested to look at. I already talked about machine learning. These are just some examples in machine learning. And the climate modeling, I think there is specifically a session that will be looking at the colleagues from South African Weather Services. But what I would also like to indicate is that the system is not just also used for research, but we also use for operational forecasting. So basically, we are a failover service for the South African Weather Services. You would know that in most countries who have got deep pockets, they build 2 systems in parallel. The other one is a failover service. That's what the meteorological services do. But in South Africa, we had to be innovative because we don't have that deep pockets. So we reconfigured our system in such a way that when the SAWS system, there is a failure on that side, automatically we can continue providing the operational forecasting for the country. The other area of interest is obviously looking at bringing in cloud to HPC. And I think this is an area that Chineka will also be interested in building the open stack. We have got the open stack that we have already built in South Africa, and we're looking at making sure that we can provision the whole of the HPC system on OpenStack. And this is something that we have already, we provisioned this right before the national lockdown. So that was on the 23rd of March, 2020. But immediately the country was looking for the data. So from our national command center that is providing data on assisting the government in making decisions, those dashboards run from these systems here. And also we support, for an example, the Department of Higher Education on identifying or providing support for online learning, identifying where the students are, the network coverage, those type of support also through during the pandemic has been areas that we have been very interested in. I'd like to indicate that we have got also collaborations that have been going on, and specifically for the Center for High Performance Computing. I think closer to Italy on PRAISE, and Chineka, I know, is the member of PRAISE. We have got an MOU that we signed with PRAISE, and this also is to look at providing that cooperation on high performance computing. And we also have got the ARAB, this is the Africa and Europe radio astronomy program that we participate in. Besides that, we also have got cooperations like in a BRICS, where we have got the BRICS, ICT and HPC working group. And similarly to what we have with PRAISE, we took a leaf out of PRAISE, and we thought it is very important for us to build a regional cooperation in Southern Africa. So there is a SADC Cyber Infrastructure Framework that has been adopted by the ministers of science, education, innovation in Southern Africa that is driving this collaboration. So we're very happy to learn on how you also collaborate from PRAISE so that we can strengthen our regional cooperation. I also indicated about the SKA partner countries that we collaborate in there on high performance computing, building capacity in the countries that participate in the SKA. So these are some of the areas that we can look at. I'm just showing here some of the initiatives in ensuring that we build capacity in the SKA partner countries so that they do have got capacity. We help them build infrastructure, train their staff in areas of research, and also applications of HPC. I think this one is the pride that I also want to indicate. We really invest in the future, and we train our students and give the students practical examples in cyber infrastructure. This is a cyber security challenge that I think so far we are the only country that does this, and we get students to go on doing cyber security challenge, and we promote the students from all tertiary institutions. The other one that we have been working on for a long time is on high performance computing on the Student Cluster Challenge. And we can see from this history that our students have been doing very well, competing with the rest of the world, and the students getting gold in those areas. So in terms of human capital development, we are very happy to look at those areas. I think with that, Program Director, this is what we want to share, and would really be very happy to start our collaboration with IFAB. Thank you very much, and thank you for your attention.